Hey, this is Jackie Chin, and we're here for another episode of Zombie Palooza Radio Live. I have today with me our guest, Clarence Adams. Usually, when someone decides to take the director's position, they plan for the project. They have months, years, to reason out every detail, the angles, the shots, the words, everything that goes into creating a film piece. You had less than the time that it takes to tell about it, and you brought forward a killer movie called The Grind. Let's get into it.
Oh yeah, let's get into it. So to get into being the director, I know I got called in to be just a director of photography, which I was fine with. Had a pretty solid script, and I was really ready to dive into it. Um, and I traveled up to Tennessee, where we was going to shoot the film at with my friend Kelsey. And once we got there, we realized that the director that was supposed to be on the set has some issues with flights. And so he got laid over for a few days and stuff, but we started it coming up into more issues of people happen to be certain places at certain times. So we had to make a basically a judgment call with everybody on board.
Yeah,
And
because
we
I mean, people came in, did what they needed to do, and you were ready to go. They were ready to go. They were excited. You don't want to lose any of that excitement.
no, we didn't want to lose no excitement. So I basically was pushed into the director role. And I wouldn't change it for a second, to be honest, but I wish it would have went a different way. I wish I was a little bit more prepared. But everybody else on set was really, really cool about me being the director. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this. So I took charge of everything and I basically started running the team like a military team. I liked certain times. I like making uh, time constraints. And then once I started learning that people had to be certain places at certain times that they couldn't give me the full weekend, um, I told them, says, we're going to do this film. We're going to get it done. If you work with me, I can work with you. We're going to do this. We're going to shoot for 24 hours straight so we can get this done. And that's what we did. We ended up pushing 24 hours straight from 4 o'clock in the morning one day to 4 o'clock in the morning the next day. So they stayed with me 100%.
What was something that in this course of this straight 24-hour filming did you find exhilarating that kept you going?
Ooh, it kept me going was pretty much the cast. I mean, they were so much into the actual film itself, um, and us all working together, basically writing it out as we went to fill some gaps that was in the actual script itself. But once we started pushing forward and we started knocking it out, we had a lot of fun on set, and that was the big thing. Was the morale was what kept me going. The morale stayed high. We all stayed good. We barely even ate anything. Like I said, before I've eaten one donut for 24 hours, and we just kind of pushed and kept pushing and pushing. But it was basically the morale. The morale kept me going because the spirits of everybody's energy was high, and I'm like, yes, let's keep this rolling. That's what we did.
Doing things off the cuff and doing them so that they sync with each other is hard enough when you have a full schedule where you can arrange things to make them do the thing that you need them to do. But to do it under these particular extreme circumstances was something that you had not done before. Did you have any thing creep into the back of your head that said, "What are you doing?" Or did you ignore it if it did happen and just simply push through?
Oh, there was that voice. There was definitely a voice that says, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" you haven't done this before. You're just the cameraman. That's all you do. You take direction versus giving direction. But I did ignore that little monster in the back of the head, like, hey, I'm going to be able to do this. There's nothing that I can't do. I never said I can't do anything. So I'm not going to allow this to defeat me. So I got up and started pushing and kept going and going and going. And the little kids running in here. But anyway, we just kept pushing and pushing. And eventually we came to the point where it's like, I felt really comfortable in what I was doing. It felt like it was second nature. Like, hey, this is me. This is I can get in with this.
All right. So usually when I start these shows, I have people, our guests, tell the audience who they are and what it is they do and the work that we're going to be getting in. But because this is a very unique situation, that's why I started it the way I did. But now I want to get some background on you and let people know the different kinds of things that you have done so that we can see why the grind is going to be a must watch.
Well, for one, I'm 40 years old. I'm a resident of South Carolina. Before that, I was a resident of the Cincinnati, Ohio, Northern Kentucky area. Joined the military. When I joined the military, I joined in as a 12 Bravo combat engineer, where I did route clearance, look for IEDs, which is improvised explosive devices. And then I reclassed as an 89 Delta, which is explosive ordnance disposal. So I was able to disarm bigger ordnance, basically. In some instances of my deployment, I ran with the special forces and the SEALs and stuff as a bomb tech. When I came back home, I went into the private military contracting side of the world and started doing PMC work and stateside deployments, celebrity protections, and things of that nature. But what got me into doing horror in general was I suffer from PTSD, which is a big issue for a lot of people. It's a very big issue. And in my mind, I thought if I can recreate some of the things that I've saw in person in a fixed area or a controlled environment, that I can numb that pain or that sensation of depression without taking any medicines or drugs or anything. So I started recreating things, the gore and things, and it kind of really numbed that situation for me. And now it's like, it's not as bad in my mind. So that's what got me into doing the horror photography and start doing filming, and eventually got pushed into a director position for that. But doing that stuff is really what got me into it, is because of my time in the military services, and I really enjoy it.
And it's another way to be able to decompartmentalize the different kinds of pieces that you would need to put into a film and give direction to the people who are looking to you for guidance.
Yes, definitely. Uh, it's because it's like when you're in that situation and you're given a team, you work with a team, you know how to direct. And like I said, any team you keep morale high on, they will listen to every word you got. They'll follow you to the ends of the earth. And that was just the same like the grind. When we was on set, we kept everybody's morale super high. And no matter what we did, it felt like everything fell in place without any kind of issues or any hiccups. I mean, with any set, we always have hiccups, but it didn't
Right.
matter. It didn't matter. This
Right.
team was a solid team. I couldn't ask for a better cast.
So let's get into it. You sent a number of photos behind the scenes also, but these
Mhm.
first ones are going to be actual clips from the film. So we
Mhm.
want to have a little bit of discussion. And the crew that you have is actually very phenomenal, and some people might find very familiar.
Yeah, very familiar, definitely.
I'm going to get out of the way, and here is our first photo.
That is Kelsey Baker. That's the one who actually went up to Tennessee with me, just to be my assistant DP, and my special effects makeup artist. And she ended up happened to play a role in the film. And here's the beginning of the film, basically where Terry and Casey are out for a photo shoot with Kelsey as their photographer.
You made sure to pick props and other things for this particular fan film to keep it in the same alignment as the original film. Talk about the camera and why it is important for you to be able to keep the essence of the original film.
Well, I kept the Polaroid camera because everybody knows that sound, that that eerie sound from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the sound of the Polaroid snapping and it coming out. And some people ain't even aware that that's what the sound is to this day. And I was kind of shocked about that, but that's why we kept certain things in. And the Polaroid camera is a big thing for that noise. And we want to keep, throughout the film that you'll hear that noise, just kind of play homage to the original.
Absolutely. I love her nails.
Sure.
Diggity. The doggy says, yeah, bum diggity too.
Right.
All right. Where did you meet her, and what was it about her style of special effects that you said you got to have this?
I met her actually through a friend of mine named Mason Freiberg. He's a photographer as well here in South Carolina, and he'd done some pictures of her. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh my God, I need to do a pinup version of her, of Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap. And I bugged her about it. I says, look, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I want to do a pinup shoot of you as Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. And she kind of played with the idea. She asked Mason if she knew me because she was kind of like, I don't know this dude. I'm kind of creeped out, blah, 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 blah. And Mason was like, no, he's a great guy. You need to work with him. He's such a great guy. I'm like, I appreciate that. So Kelsey came. And the funny thing is when we did our first photo shoot, she had a Polaroid camera, and I was taking pictures of her with a Polaroid camera, doing the Lydia Dietz thing, going through the building, taking pictures. And then she said to me, says, hey, I've always wanted to be a model, wanted to do this. Do you know how I can get into this industry? I was like, oh yeah, I know quite a few people I can get you into this industry, but you got to have the passion. And I said, are you passionate about it? She said, yeah, I want to do this full time. And so within a week of her saying that, I had her in a film called Stro Sinister Cinema, which is on Amazon Prime. And I'm actually in it with her as well. And there's been all these other projects that kind of fell in her lap because of it. And with her style of makeup and special effects, I was like, look, I need this, because she's really got an eye and an act. Super talented female. She's super good.
It's really important too for films that are like this, especially era types films, to be able to get the production quality for the special effects to be just spot on, because you're not doing CG here, you're doing actual hands-on. And people who like these particular kinds of films are going to be looking at how everything is put together. It is, and if they find something that they're going, oh, that's it's not quite as where I would like it to be, although armchair quarterback here, hello, they're still going and picking and poking. But if they like it, damn, if they like it, they're going to be telling everybody and their brother. Speaking of everybody and their brother, who are they?
Oh, that's the gruesome twosome right there. That's Frank Lopez and Brett Wagner, the lost Leatherface, big swag.
He's amazing as an individual, very talented.
Super talented.
Super talented. So they look like they had a lot of fun.
Oh, Frank was super nervous because this is the first time he was ever on a set. And if you ever had a chance to talk to Frank would tell you, it's like, oh wow, I never felt so comfortable with a bunch of people I've never met in my life.
I'm gonna get out of the way.
But Frank, was actually part of the Indiegogo campaign. He wanted to be in the scene to act with Brett Wagner. And so he came all the way up from Florida to Tennessee and he acted with Brett Wagner. And first few takes, he was real nervous. I finally got, cutting jokes with him, making him, loosen up, laugh. And then, of course, Big Schwag over there, he was making him laugh, and everything worked really well. The chemistry on set started, really set in, and they did both really well together. And like I said, you couldn't ask for a better person like Brett. Brett is super humble, amazing man to work with.
Talk about the importance of humor or dark humor within horror.
All the importance, geez.
Yeah.
If you don't have a sense of humor whatsoever, you're not going to make it. You're really not. And having dark humor, which I've had quite a bit of experiences myself with dark humor overseas, but and I've told Frank this, matter of fact, on set, it's like you got to have a sense of humor. It has to be, a little bit out there sometimes, but once you break that barrier, you're more than comfortable with everybody that's around you, because that's when you start breaking the ice. You have a common ground with everybody. And once you feel that common ground, you start working together as a team. It's like, look, there's a commonality between us all. And we're all human. We all like have fun. We're all messed up in the head a little bit, but you know what? That's okay.
In the camaraderie of a film crew, it is very important for everything that you just said. But too, and also, it is important to have humor within the horror storyline. So I know that you had to create some of the pieces because there was some that was missing. And I'm wondering if going through the dark depths of your soul, did you pull out something that was humorous but quite fitting to the grind?
Definitely with Terrence. Terrence Stockton, which is the guy who played Nubbins in our film. Um, I know talking with him, and Frank was basically with us the entire time, even though his scenes were done with Brett. So he got to see some of that dark humor. But with Terrence, I told Terrence, hey man, I really want you to embody the Nubbins character. And of course, there's cannibalism and things like that. I want you to just kind of ad lib some areas, just feel it out. And we started talking about when we dropped Angel into the cellar, and he basically was talking. It's like that was supposed to be mine, and I was talking about trying to eat her, and now she's all bruised up and it's not going to taste right, and being all silly with it. And then they slammed the cellar door and basically says, well, let's go, I'm hungry, let's go eat. And then basically take off, and you can hear that the snack that smiles back. And it was Frank, and everybody was like, wow, that was kind of comical.
So like that, gotta like that. When you have a piece and it's very, very heart pounding, and then you're getting to where you're starting to figure things out, humor also has a way to be able to change the arc and to allow for a little bit of breathing room before the next bam. And it's great for the audience, because your audience, once they're in hook, line, and sinker, they're all about the taking the ride. And that not necessarily full stop, but that half second, 30 seconds worth of there's some sort of humor in this is going to give them a little bit of breathing room. And then you can sneak up on him and go, bam.
Yep, hit him again with it. There's definitely that, because even with Nubbins is very the comic relief in our film, because he's dragging Kelsey into the house. He says, "Come on man, just being just the way
Being
he's talking.
neighborly.
and
Just being
she's
neighborly.
and she's just screaming at the top of her lungs, and he just says it, candidly, because I told him just be Nubbins, throw some humor in it, and he really delivered Nubbins the way I would love to see him. And as soon as he drug her in, I didn't expect him to say that because that was ab libbed. He says, "Come on in." It's just so
Some
fun.
of these best lines, first of all, are given by the bad guys, but then some of these other ones are ad libbed. They're not in the script, and you gotta, after you're going through and you're looking at all of the footage, in the editorial sense, you get to decide, and sometimes it's not an easy decision because you only maybe have a certain amount of time that you can have the film run, and you don't want to cut out anything that's really really good. But did you have to cut out anything that was really really good?
Um, yeah, I did. There's some really good stuff, but
Hey, can you put that into a director's cut?
oh yeah, there's definitely going to be some added features, but
We're
because
gonna go on.
I don't want people to miss it,
Yeah, yeah, we want to see the whole thing. All right, so give
Oh,
us give us a
this
little description.
this is the back porch of the Sawyer family's house. And of course, you can see shotgun shells.
A little bit interesting there. Yeah, yeah.
There's just so a lot of grime and nastiness. And this house was actually set up like this for a long time because this was Cody Huskins' grandma's house, and Cody's grandma is in a nursing home. And so her house hasn't been really maintained that well. So it's like a lot of overgrowth and really gnarly looking stuff. And this was sitting back there on the steps. So we made sure that we left it there for, just that whole aesthetics of that backyard, wooded, just grungy feel. And these are the actual steps that Terrence Nubbins dragged Kelsey up, and we knocked that tray over.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about stunt work. And because a lot of these films, they have bodies, people, different things dragged one way to the other, and all of that kind of thing. And there's a lot of physicalness to the acting parts. Talk about and give some credence to those with whom had that experience in the grind.
Well, I know the one that had to do a lot of physical exertion would be Cody. And he's the one who played our Leatherface. There's the scene where he's coming up to the back steps, to these actual steps, and he's got Amy Cody in one hand and dragging Angel Bradford with the other. So he's walking up the steps, actually dragging them. And the thing is that he was actually dragging Angel by her hair. I was like, Angel, are you cool with this? And she says, for the shot, I'm cool with it. I was like, look, it's going to probably be painful. He's going to drag you about 1.5 feet to whatever. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. So she was a trooper. She did it. And like I said, nobody had a stunt double or nothing like that. So they had to endure some of this physical pain as much as it would really hurt in real life. So it's like, feel bad, but they really stuck their necks out and really went all in with this. And I couldn't be happier. Like I said, they put their body on the line just to make sure they get the scene to look as real as possible without actually causing that much damage.
And not having to do a retake.
And yeah, not having to do a retake. Hopefully.
So this picture is a hot minute above some of the other ones, but I just wanted to put this one out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, since we're talking about the dude.
Yeah, that's Cody. That's Cody Huskins. That's our Leatherface. He's a sizable guy. I mean, he's
huge.
he's quite the guy. He's huge. When we was working in that trailer, his shoulders touched one side of the hallway to the other. he had to walk down the hallway sideways because he's so wide.
But
But
he's very kind, very intelligent, very
oh yeah,
kind, well spoken,
mhm.
and it had to be a joy to work with.
Oh, Cody is one of the best ones to work with. He's super kind, and he's very, he's very humble for one. Uh, two, he's soft spoken for somebody who's a massive man. It kind of caught me off guard. I mean, he has a deep voice, but he's very soft spoken. He doesn't talk
Mhm.
loud, and sometimes trying to get him to do some things, it was really hard to get him to push the sound that I needed to come out of him. But like I said, he's such a joy to work with, easy to work with, easy uh to basically to direct. I said, Cody, this is what I need. I need you to do this. And I don't think I really had to retake any shots with him because he was that much into that character and on point.
I'm gonna go back to where I'm supposed to be. Na, 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 na. And we will come back to this one because I want to talk about the special effects on this. Here we go. They look like they're having some fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's Kelsey and Terrence Stockton getting he's basically snatched them up out of the woods because Angel and Amy were snatched up out of the woods first by Leatherface. And you'll see that during the trailer if anybody watches the trailer. So you'll see that part where he takes Amy and Angel, and Kelsey goes to look for them in the woods, and Nubbin basically finds her and snatches her up and drags her into the house
For a tasty snack.
for a tasty snack. You can just see the pure joy in his face right there.
He's like, I got you now.
Yeah, he really embodied that character. Jesus, he was really good with it. Oh, Brett again.
This is awesome.
Yeah. This is Brett coming to the Sawyer house after his bike ran out of gas, and he talked to Frank Lopez, which was cousin Frank, at the building that they met up at. He's like, hey, I need some gas, and there's no gas station within like 20 miles. So he said, hey, I got family up the road. It's like a mile or two up the road. You can go there. You can just tell them cousin Frank sent you. Well, this is Brett Wagner coming to the back door of the Sawyer house, knocking on the door, and says, hello, cousin Frank sent me. Trying to find gas, and well, I don't want to tell too much about that.
Right. And, well, you're gonna have to watch the film, The Grind, to find out what happens.
Exactly.
I love the shots, so clear, and this next one, I'm gonna tell you people, this next shot is like the silver tuna. It's amazing.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Look
that's
at this. We're going to talk a lot of different kinds of things about this particular photo.
that one. I really love the contrast on that and the color. But that mask that Cody is wearing is from Josh Perry with Clayface Creations. He made that for the film, and that's basically only one of that mask, and it was for the grind.
Can you talk about any of the technique that he used in this? Do you know much about how it was constructed?
Well, when I brought it, well, Adam Phillips ended up sending it to my house so I could do a editorial on it because I didn't think it had enough screen time. I really want to show people the amazing work that Josh Perry put into this. And I've never seen a mask like this in
I haven't either. That's just
it was super thick. It felt like flesh. It was like felt like dried flesh. But this mask particularly was actually put in 5 pieces. So all the stitching that you actually see in that mask is actually where it's stitched together. It's actually pieced together in 5 separate sections. And it's like, holy crap, this is such an amazing mask. It was so well put together, so textured. And like I said, he put a lot of thought and effort into this, and the hair was just phenomenal. It seemed like real hair. I'm not sure if it's real or not, but
It
in
looks
person
real.
it
It
felt
looks
real.
it because you can, like, synthetic will have a very shiny kind of over not well maybe over processed, but
Mm,
the texture of it is way different, almost like
yeah,
just mushy kind of, so you can't really work with it. But this thing looks like it is actual real hair. It's even got the little bit of frizz that real hair would have.
yeah, because this was actually the Pretty Woman mask, and it was basically made for the dinner scene. And you can see around the eyes where he has the eyeshadow on, and of course around the lips had the lipstick. If you look
Mm-hmm.
into it a little bit more, but like I say, this was the Pretty Woman mask, and I'm like, I'm blown away at the level of detail in this mask. And when I brought it, like I said, Adam Phillips sent it to the house, and I did a lot of pictures for it to really showcase it, because I want to, like, towards the end of the film, I really wanted to do an editorial and give him the recognition he deserves for that mask, and donated it to the film.
What was it like to be worn? What was
Uh,
it like for the actor to wear it?
well, Cody having a big old melon like he does, um, it looked really good as you could see on him, but for him, it was kind of tight, but it looked really good. For I mean, for what it is, it looked really good because it ain't supposed to fit super loose.
Right.
Um, but Cody, I don't think he had a problem wearing it. I know he said that at first it was a little tight until he felt there was like Velcro on the side where you can actually cinch it up on the side if you want to
Ah,
close it all the
okay.
way up. But there's also where you can actually undo the Velcro and tuck the tabs
If
in
it gets a
to
little
give
too
it
much.
right. And it gave him some more wiggle room in there. But after we opened up the mask a little bit, he loved it.
Good.
He didn't want to get rid of it, but it was part of the Indiegogo campaign, one of the perks that somebody purchased.
All right. So horror films, especially classic horror films, have a coloration that is different than what we would find in today's films. Talk about the importance of the lighting and the coloration that you did for the grind. Or if you didn't do it, then the person who did.
Well, I had to be my own everything, my own sound guy, own lighting guy, everything. So as everybody was sitting in the kitchen, I was setting up lights throughout the hallway. Um, and I think I sat there for 20 minutes setting up lights just to get that right ambience of light that I wanted, that blue hue and then that natural lighting coming through that window off to his left on the picture here. But he had natural light coming through the window, and then I set up a blue light panel coming off to the right hand side, and had to set it up. And it's like, in these genres, if you don't have that lighting, it really doesn't set the tone. And it's a lot of the lighting contrasts and everything that can set the mood for the entire film. If it's bright and poppy, you're just thinking that you're watching like a Mary Poppins show. But
Right.
if it's dark, grimy, like grungy, with that just that subtle ambience of blues or reds or even greens, it will set the
Mm-hmm.
entire tone of the movie. And that's what I was trying to achieve here. Was I wanted that grungy color and everything, and then just show just a speckle of his personality through his eyes. You can just barely see it. Um, and that's when he was coming down the hallway at me. And like I said, even shooting him, I felt intimidated because he's a massive man.
Right.
And with
So,
that light like that, it really screwed me up. Like, oh my God, I'm getting kind of nervous behind the camera.
I bet when he first saw you looking at him, he knew he had it.
Oh yeah. He definitely knew that. He's like, oh yeah, I got this. He definitely couldn't wait to see it. once we shot it, because I gave him like a little glimpse of him coming down the hallway. He's like, "Oh my God, that'd be great for my reels and everything. I can't wait." I was like, just trust the process, Cody. We'll get you set up, man.
That the whole thing is a fabulous match. Everybody did quite the amazing job.
They did. Oh yeah, that's the hallway that he was shoulder to shoulder.
I had to go and like, oh, like holy Moses.
Because you can see how his body is bladed. Because if he was standing square up with me, he would not fit in that hallway.
Mm-mm.
His shoulders were basically rubbing the walls all the way down. It's like Jesus. But this picture here was just to show the I don't know how to really explain it, but it's just to show the real depth of this character, how dark and morbid it can be. But then kind of with that natural light, it kind of gives that softness to it. Like,
yeah, because you know that okay, so let's go into the more esoteric part of this. There is usually a very soft side that is in the deepest, darkest character. And that is part of the psychological aspect of horror films, that you know that if but for the grace of God go I, every once in a while, you know that there is something within you that really, really wants to set that spark and just go all out and forget about everything that's supposed to be right and humane. And many of us don't do that, which is a very good thing. But that's also, I guess, part of what PTSD is.
yeah, absolutely.
It's that spark that is in you that is saying, all right, we still have to keep this together, and that part of your humanity that is still in there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely entangled in there. So, but this one right here is just like, it's just every time I look at it, you can see the soft side of Bubba,
Yeah.
but you can also see the dark and
Oh
morbid
yeah,
side of him at the
absolutely.
same time.
It kind of like from what I'm looking at, it's like, okay, so this is light, and then it kind of like fades right into this, and you know, damn, that's he's gone. That's it.
And it's just the way that picture came out. I was like, yeah,
That's fabulous.
I really loved it, and that was
And
like, I think one of Cody's favorites.
you're a photographer also.
Yes.
So when you're doing these particular shots as a director, you're using your photographer eye to be able to look at the angles that are exactly right for the particular scene.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this one.
That one, I have to give kudos to Kelsey Baker on this, because that wound that she put on his head, it looks so legit. Like, but it's like, holy crap, it looks like he really got busted in the head.
Yeah, it does.
And it's busted wide open. But it's actually a prosthetic that we got from Halloween Express in Johnsonville, Tennessee. And it was just a cheap prosthetic. And because, like, so we was writing it on the fly, and we was going to say, we need a head wound, and they didn't have the spirit gum or the scar wax or anything like that. So we saw these prosthetics, and we ended up saying, well, we're going to try it. If it looks terrible, so be it. If not, we'll go with it. And Kelsey put this together within like less than 25 minutes. And we was able to shoot. And I was
That's the
like,
difference between a professional and somebody who is just kind of starting out. But the quality of it, the coloration. I have friends of mine that are doctors and ambulance drivers and all of that, and they also do special effects. And a lot of times they will take some of their real life experiences and they will put it into their art or film work, and that looks real. That looks like spot on.
And that's what I kept telling Kelsey. Brett was super impressed with it too. Like, this is the first time Kelsey really done any um special effects on an actual celebrity that's been in a lot of stuff.
How did when you had a mirror, I would assume, in all of the equipment, or maybe in the house.
Yeah,
What did
we did.
what did
And
he do when he first saw himself and looked like that?
well, they didn't use a mirror to show him that. Somebody gave him a his phone and he turned the camera on forward facing. He said, "Holy shit, that looks good." Like, wow, that looks real. So the only thing we need to do is just kind of fluff it up with some blood, make it look like it's coming out, we should be good. And
See, I mean, the expression on his face when I first looked at these photos before I was loading him up, I looked at that and I went, all right, yeah, did he get hurt? I mean, for real, real?
yeah,
Because I've seen a number of things, with having done the show for so long. But she's spot on.
she really nailed it. but um but yeah, I was super proud of it when I seen it. And then when I grabbed my camera saying, I want to see how it reads on film.
Right.
And so I got Brett in position. Um, and of course he was down on hands and knees and stuff. I didn't want him to leak all over Cody's grandma's house, so we put some towels and stuff down and everything. So I came down at an upward angle so I can really showcase that wound, because I mean, you don't want to waste a good special effects makeup. You just like,
Right.
for a few seconds. It's like I want to make sure that people saw that, because I was super proud of Kelsey doing that. And Brett really sold it. Like, holy shit, it looked like he really got hurt. And him bleeding and stuff, and the way he was acting, it seemed like he really, really got hurt. And he sold it. And I'm like, God, he's, like I said, again, amazing team, amazing people.
Absolutely.
Just blew my mind.
Let's see where we're at here. Speaking of blue,
Oh yeah, blue.
we're a little blue. Colors, again, we're talking about the importance of coloration and making sure that the ambient lighting is exactly where you want it to be, because if it's too light, it'll look fluffy, and you don't really want that for a horror movie. Here we go. Yeah, she looks like she's having a interesting time.
Yeah, she was having an interesting time. Because like I said, I give these girls that were in this room so much credit, because they were tied to these tables for quite a while. And I kept feeling bad for them, to say, we're going to untie you. And no, we're fine, we're fine. But they were real troopers, but they stayed on this table. But this is where Angel was going to escape, or try to escape, to free her girlfriend. And like I said, things don't work out as well, but that's for people to see when the film comes. But she was definitely having a time.
She looks like she's got kind of sort of a plan. We're going to have to watch to find out where it led.
She has a plan.
And here's one more.
Kelsey's big old eyeball.
But in that photo, you can tell that there is a very pressing dread that is coming over her, and she is probably not going to be really happy.
Yeah, she's definitely not going to be happy. Very soon.
Some things going on, this, that, and the other. Exactly. All right. Well, now we got this guy again.
Oh yeah, that's actually the kill mask in the kill.
Look at that. So let's have a discussion about this particular piece.
And that's the mask that's sitting right here. This is the kill mask from the movie. But this is where, well, I can't really
Yeah, don't
say
be
why,
doing all the
Cody.
thing. I wanna talk only about the mask. I don't want to talk about anything that's going to give any kind of spoiler kind of thing. So I'm
Right.
interested in like the texture of the mask, and I'm interested in who created this because it is quite a phenomenal piece.
This was actually a mask that was bought from, I think, Trick or Treat Studios, if I'm not mistaken, and then overhauled by Josh Adams, the one who originally supposed to directed the film. And then we used it as an Indiegogo perk. And me believing in the film as much as I did, I'm the one who purchased the mask. Um, so I have it myself. But this mask, the way Josh did it, he did it in a way of it's very subtle. It's not a lot of reworking, but he did rework the areas that really will set the tone, like around the stitching
Mm-hmm.
and everything. He reworked that. He put a little bit of texture inside of where the stitching is, where the blood and the gore would be, to kind of give it that live flesh versus a dead flesh. And the skin was more pale than it would have been. Of course, for like a dead person, the skin would become
Right,
pale
right.
and the edges would be bruised and everything. And that's what he did here when he overhauled this mask, and that's exactly what he did. And on the Kills mask, I can show you, he took a lot of the hair off and just made it like that. And just kind of gave it a little very light amount of hair on it. And
Because well, when if something like that were to be in reality, God forbid, but if things would not be in pristine condition, it just wouldn't happen.
right.
And there's going to be wear and tear on the body parts. There's going to be things that kind of sort of look still okay, but then other things are going to look like they've been really, really like gone through the ringer.
Mhm.
And having it like all perfect would maybe not carry off the look that you would want. But to me, I don't know if it is the lighting and what has happened on here, but this looks like it's darker color and whatnot compared to what you have behind you. What do you give in correlation to the way the coloring is different?
The coloring scale here was done with the light panels.
Okay,
Um, so you got that essence of the blue, and then of course I had a another white light, as you can see, that's on him, but I
right.
also had another light that was very subtle of a yellow essence to give it
Yes.
that texture and color that I really wanted on film, because it gave it more of a natural skin tone and natural feel. And of course, with the contrast of the lights coming from one angle, it really made those rigid bumps and stuff and the crevices really pop with the contrast. And I'm like, this is the grime that I'm looking for. This is the fucking texture that everybody looks for in these
Yes.
nasty films.
That's okay. That's the essence of a good director or a good lighting individual, to get out there and make sure that they can take what you have. Where is it? My where you are, because apparently I can't point to where the mask is behind you, whatever stage that is, and then and transform it into what we have behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous, fabulous. All right, so we're going to move on to the next photo, and we're back here and we're talking about like the way the hair was and all of that kind of thing. And in this, you get to see.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's we messed the hair up a little bit, as you can see on there right now. It's kind of a little slick back, but I, of course, if you're just doing what he's doing here, he's not going to be all pristine, slick
Right,
back
right,
and
right.
everything. We want to give it that grimy feel, and like I said, it just Cody just wore it so well. Like his head fit perfect for this mask. Um, and for it to be a Trick or Treat Studios uh Halloween mask and just rehauled, it read really well on camera with the overhaul.
Absolutely. The whole, I mean, to me, it looks like two different things, but that is, like I said, it's what happens when you can take something that is basically store bought and do the magic that you guys do. That's why it's called movie magic.
Movie magic, because I tell you what, if we use the original one, it would not have
It
sold
wouldn't
it.
have sold right. No, not at all.
It would not have.
It does. A lot of times you can have a really, really good scene, or you could have a really good actor, but if the props in the back or that they're using do not look like they have the credence to be there, then people are going to look. And so we're back to people look at everything, they examine everything,
Oh yeah.
and if it's off, they're going to talk about it. But if it's spot on like that, they're still going to talk about it, but you're going to get a much favorable expression of how they
Right.
feel about it. They're going to be like, yeah, you got to see that, this guy Clarence knows what he's doing.
Well, I definitely commend Josh Adams on his overhaul on it. Because I mean, with the colors he used, it really helped set the mood with the lights, and it all just worked
It's
perfect.
fabulous, and it's really important too to be able to give credence to those who are working behind the scenes, sometimes in front of the camera, but behind the scenes too, to make sure that the project comes together in a more cohesive manner.
Yes.
Now, you sent me a black and white photo, and I was like, there's got to be a reason. So we're going to look at this black and white photo.
Yes.
After I get out of the way, here we are.
Yes, I black and white that one on purpose.
I kind of figured.
Because I don't want to show too much. Because the color ambience on this photo, when you see it, you'll understand why I graded it out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just because I didn't want to give out too much detail. I just want you to kind of see the fear on Angel's face. Is, I mean, you could probably insinuate what's going on,
Oh, something's going to happen.
as something's going to happen, but I really don't want to give any
Mm-hmm.
ideas. And right, I said, if
She
all the
looks
right
like
lighting and color,
she is flipped out.
she's flipped out. And Angel's such a great scream queen, as you want to call her, because she really, oh my god, like when she's on set and she's doing stuff, oh my god, she makes you feel like you're really there, and you feel bad for her. You're sitting there recording her like, I want to do something to help her,
Give
that kind
the
of stuff.
give a bit more of the importance of having actors who are extremely passionate about what they're doing, and especially the ones that really have to, because that's physical work. People think, oh, you're just screaming, it ain't no big deal. Honey, you ever been to a scream queen contest? I've watched them happen at a place called Horror Hotel just recently, and there was like 5 or 6 people. But man, it is very guttural. If they're going
Oh,
to, they're going to try and be the scream queen or the scream king of the film series. They really have to dig real deep, and then they get tired. But not only that, they're wrecking their throat if they don't do
yeah.
it right. And there's a particular way that I learned that you're actually supposed to do the scream. Do you know about what that technique is?
I
And
do not.
or did she give you any kind of insight into what it takes for her to do what she does?
Angel really didn't give me any insight about what it takes to do what she does, but you can see the effort, the passion, and everything that she puts into it. Because it's like you said at the beginning, is just try to explain the importance of the scream. Because if you're not selling the scream, you're really not selling the scene. If this person is really getting hurt, would they really be making this noise, or would it be more like this? And every time Angel's on set and I'm recording her, like filming her, she really sells it to a point where I feel like, as the camera guy, I need to drop my camera and save her, because it's like I'm watching this, I'm really into it, like holy crap, I'm scared for her myself, and I know it's set up, I'm the one who set it up. But the way she sold it, and like Cody's movements in this is like holy crap, I'm like, wow, it's like I feel like I need to drop this camera because this has gotten too real.
So
And
we're talking a lot about camera and have been for a good 20 minutes. Talk about what camera you used, because these shots, number one, they're really spot on. But number two, the camera is very important, and very often we don't speak about it.
no, we don't. I'm actually using the Canon R5 shooting this, um, because I mean it's a lightweight camera. I had a shoulder rig set up where I can actually move it the way I need to, transition smoothly. But it's a Canon R5 and it shoots 45 megapixel at 5K, and it's amazing camera. It shoots super clean videos. I have to really dumb down the quality to match the genre for the time frame, to give it that old school look.
Grunge
And
look, yeah.
and it's like on the one end of the spectrum is like when you look at the clean version of it, it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. But then you look at adding the filters or the LUTs inside of it, it's like, holy crap, it's good either way.
Mm-hmm.
um, but like I said, it's like I shoot with the Canon R5 all the time. I have multiple cameras I go with, even use drones and stuff. But for this film, it was just the Canon R5.
I see why she's screaming. And if I end up having nightmares because of this thing, I'm going to send you the bill for my like psychiatrist.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, even vampires kind of get eek at certain particular kinds of things. Yeah.
Because that's a massive man again carrying that big old chainsaw. And the one that's on the ground right now is Whitney Adams. That is Josh Adams's wife. And during filming, we had to, be very careful with her, um, because she was pregnant. So a lot of stuff that we ended up doing with Whitney, we made sure that we were very careful on how we shot with her. But she made a lot of things very believable. Whitney did an amazing job. And some of the scenes you will hear her uh, in her screams and stuff, and you'll be like, oh wow, she's really selling that too. But some of the scenes, like I said, she's like supposed to fall, and I was like, she's pregnant. I don't want her to fall. I
Yeah,
don't want to get
right.
nobody get hurt. And of course, we're in a closed room. We got this chainsaw. I'm supposed to start up, and I don't want her to, she suffers from like asthma and stuff. So I had to figure out ways of not starting this chainsaw that's in Cody's hand, but add in, 80 later of the chainsaw running.
Right.
So we
So
didn't worry about her asthma.
we talked some the other day about the chainsaw. Would you like to elaborate a little bit for our audience
Yes, this
about
is
what you
actually
had to go through to get it and all of that kind of thing?
um this is a vintage chainsaw that was actually used in the original, one of the originals. Um and everybody's this saw is like one of the sought after saws for any collector or vintage collectors of movies. This is the saw. We had two of them on set. One had the blade on, and one didn't. One ran, and the other one didn't. But this one that Cody's carrying right now is the one that didn't run. And of course, you can clearly see that there's not a blade on it here. But the scene is so fast, you won't really notice it until, you know, it's it's already too late until you do like stuff. But um, when we try to start this freaking chainsaw with it being vintage, and a lot of people on set didn't have a lot of knowledge on how to get these things running properly. I knew how, but Adam Phillips, he was, like I said, he was a major role on a lot of key things of bringing in the props and making sure things were going the way they needed to go when he had the opportunity to be on set. Um, but Adam had the two chainsaws, and he was the one that was priming them. And when we got it to finally start, and we was filming, everybody started cheering like, "Yeah, you guys started!" But these chainsaws are so temperamental for one. But I said
Like
it's
people?
very temperamental, like people. Um, but these saws, I mean, if you're going to make the fan films, this is the saw you want to go after. It's, I mean, spend the money for it. If you're going to go shoot this, spend the money for it. Especially if it's a working saw, spend the money for it. Because holy crap, this that sound that comes off of that chainsaw is unmatched by any other chainsaw.
It's kind of like the Harley of chainsaws.
Oh yeah, it's just got that perfect sound, that resonance of it. It's like you can't match that. You can't just go get a Pulling Pro and crank it up, or you can't get a Husqvarna and do the same thing. It's, you got to have that one. That's got that sound. And when you have it at that idle, that low idle, it just gives you that. Yeah, that's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre saw. That's, the saw is family. You have to treat it as such.
We have been talking about the grind with Clarence Adams, and what I want to do now is I want to pull up the trailer.
Oh, the trailer.
So
Get jiggy with it.
yeah. So let's see where it is.
I think we need to rewind it.
Did you hear the sound on it? Were you able to hear the sound on it?
Well, it was actually on my end that it was kind of sketchy. I didn't know if it was.
All right, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to play it again. I'm going to make sure that we got sound and everything else like that too. Cause yeah, I'm not exactly certain I actually pushed that button, but I know that it is now, so we're just going to play it over.
Hey, Frank.
Come on in.
Oh my.
They said you had to throw the humor in there at the end. Come on in.
All of that. Wow, all of that. The soundtrack also. Yes, full range of absolute scare with the quality of that 80s vibe, all of that. So I'm going to ask the question. Of course, you're probably going to say what you're going to say, but who was responsible for the soundtrack?
For the trailer, it was me. So I was the one who put the soundtrack and everything to the trailer and all the other pieces that was in it. The original, you hear the radio talking. It was actually from the broadcast from the original Leatherface. That was over top of the music. So it's like I took some of the other sounds that I had and kind of mixed them myself to create that trailer for the grind. Now, I still have to look up the guy who's going to be listed on it as our composer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I can't pronounce his name.
That's
It's
okay.
a weird name, but he's going to be the one that's going to be all over it for the movie soundtrack, not the trailer. There's Whitney, all gussied up in her fine dress.
She plays dead well.
Yeah. Like I said, she had a very grueling part in the film, where of course you can see where she looks like she's been gutted open. And she was the one that was laying on the floor with Leatherface standing there with the chainsaw. And this is kind of what the aftermath was but now we want to watch the film. You got to see what it looks like.
Yeah, you
coming
got to see
together.
how it ends, or how it gets to that particular situation. It is well worth. So now we're at some behind the scenes. I love this. Holy crap! I love this. This is so cool.
Yeah, that's Kelsey and Brett.
She did this to me. She did this.
Right. What was funny about this is like when she put the prosthetic on, she was so proud of herself, and like Brett gave her kudos right there, and she's so excited, and it's like gotta get a picture before we start,
But I love
filming.
that. I love that look on his face. It looks like it looks like the act of placing that particular appliance on him actually like flip the switch,
Yeah.
and there it goes. So let's talk a little bit about flipping the switch, because we're all just regular people, and we happen to enjoy acting, and there is sometimes for people this switch that gets flipped and they become their character. While you were in the crossroads of putting this film together in less time than it takes to speak about it, did you notice that there were these spots where they were just regular people, and then something happened and they became someone else?
Oh yeah, quite a few times. Not so much with Brett, more so with Angel and Amy, because when they get ready to get on film, they have like a little routine that they do. They kind of go, kind of that woosah moment of let me get back into my person, be who I need to be. And you see them as soon as they open up their eyes, they look like a totally different person. Now, Brett is, I don't know, he's just kind of like that all the time. He's just that kind of guy. He's such a great person to be around. He's such a fun person. Um, Even during shooting, he'll do his character real quick. He'll go from, you know, saying his lines and stuff. It's Brett. You see that it's Brett. He still brings a little bit of himself in each shot. But he's supposed to be playing a different character, but you still see that it's Brett and it's still Brett. Um, but with each shot that he does, he's like, it's so great to work with. But like I said, with Angel and Amy, they kind of, you see the transition with them. And same thing with Cody. Cody does the same thing. Cody is the gentle giant, but when he has to become that scary guy,
Mm-hmm.
just that silent character, he'll get up and he'll just use his pure massive size, and he'll stand up and he'll just look at you like he's staring a hole through you, like, holy shit, this guy just became really scary really fast.
They look like they had a lot of fun though.
They did. And that's Whitney, when we had to make her fall on the ground like several times. And like I said, I felt bad for her falling several times. But even though the shot that we did right here was ruined um, by some outside noises, it kind of ruined the shot during the set. And I said something really comical on the floor, and Whitney looked up at me as I was filming it, and she started smiling, cracking up laughing. So I thought this was a funny shot.
I'm trying to do something here and you're over there cracking jokes. Bam! Way to go.
Hey, you gotta crack jokes.
It happens so. It's a normal course of trying to work between the reality of what is and the supernatural horror-esque essence of what you're trying to create. And there is going to be a point in time where somebody's going to go and something's going to happen and you're going to laugh.
Exactly. And it's like, the thing is, like, I felt bad for her because she felt like, Jesus Christ, I played like 7, 8 times at that moment, and I felt bad for her. So I had to crack a joke to make her feel like she needed to do it a couple more times. So she really didn't mind doing it, but it's like, I wanted to still be fun and have a lot of fun
Because you
doing it.
know that it's physical effort, but it's emotional, it's mental, and for some, it's they're in this spiritual zone where they've got to kind of mesh with the character and get the essence of who that who that person is and the things that they've gone through or what they're going to go through.
Right. Right.
Oh, who's that guy? Who's that
That
guy?
would,
That's Mr. Producer Guy.
yeah, that would be me. That was, you could see in the eyes the tiredness there. Um, but that was the moment that I was finding out that I was going to be directing this film,
Oh
and not
my.
only directing but shooting. So I'm like, uh,
Wow, you
else
got that. You got that literally
on
uh,
set,
on set.
on set. So
That's
that made it
deep.
a million times harder to cope with. It's like, here I am. I don't know what the direction of the film is got to go in. So, and
What is this that you're looking at?
it's a monitor that's attached to my camera.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when I'm filming, I can actually view the monitor versus trying to see into a small screen on my camera.
Right, right, right.
But I'm sitting here trying to adjust some of the settings and trying to contemplate everything that's going on at the moment. Because, like I said, Adam Phillips is the assistant director, was supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
but some things fell through with some other obligations where he couldn't assist really, but he was
Right.
still like the backbone of the team where I needed him to bring in stuff. He was there to still do that. So he also let me crash at his house for that weekend too. So it was nice of him, and he fed
Have
me.
you used this before? This particular setup before? Were you familiar with it at least?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Um, but the thing is like, sit here setting it up gave me the moment in my head to try to figure out how I'm going to shoot these scenes, because this is the first scenes being shot, and it was with Frank Lopez, the guy he doesn't know me, and Brett Wagner. Both of them had just met, and here I am like, okay, I'm just the cameraman. I'm waiting on the director. Well, they didn't know that the director wasn't showing up at that moment. I was kind of told, like almost like a whisper in the ear, hey, the, the director ain't gonna be here for another couple days. We're gonna have to figure something out.
Right, right. And meanwhile,
And
you've got all these people that are in there, and they're ready to go, and
yeah,
that's
ready,
yeah. So
showtime.
did you, did you reveal that before or after you started doing your thing?
I revealed it after the entire film was done.
Smart,
But like I said, it's like,
smart.
I didn't want them to think that I didn't know what I was doing. Like I said before, there was that little voice in the back of my head saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then as I kept shooting it, it's like, this is just like doing photography,
Right.
directing my people the way I need to get my shot to look, and they're having to act the way I need to. All I have to do instead of snapping the pictures, record it and keep that. And I said it just felt so good. Like the team made me feel great. And that's the reason why I was like, I got this, ain't no problem.
Look,
And
the look on your face, it doesn't look like holy shit. It looks like it's go time.
it was go time. That was the look. And
It's go time. Game time.
I was under caffeinated. But
I feel
um,
everything about that in so many ways you have no idea. So many
definitely
ways.
under
So
caffeinated.
we're gonna, but you need a shirt that says that, and then put the name of the film on the back.
Hashtag team no sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna.
Yeah, that's a good picture of Brett and Frank after we got done shooting their little set together. Frank, you couldn't take that smile off Frank's face. He was so happy to be there, and he was so honored to play a part. and acting with Brett. And I was so honored to shoot that for him because, like I said, it was ultimately not for me, it was for him because he paid to be part of this film and to act in it. And he was such a joy to work with. And like I said, you could see in his face right there how much he enjoyed it.
He looked like a kid in the candy store.
Man, he was so happy. So
So
happy.
that 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 joy too on his face is a lot of times the joy that happens when uh, people take what they love and make a production and produce it in whatever form it comes out in books and films, movies, whatever. And that joy of, damn, I did that, and it looks good.
Definitely, like I
It's
said, he
very exciting. It's got to be just a something that he is absolutely never going to forget.
oh no, he definitely doesn't forget it. We stay in contact to this day. He'll message me all the time saying that how much he really loved doing this with us. And this is a group photo after Brett and Frank's shots. Um, Frank Lopez and his wife, and you have Brett Wagner, and you have Cody Huskins. He wasn't really acting out that day, so he was just there. And then you have my assistant DP and makeup artist Kelsey, and that guy that's kneeling down next to me is Adam Phillips. He was the one who pretty much done a lot of the funding. Like he backed the film. He spent a lot of his own money to really back this film because, like I said, we all believed into this film to make it happen. Um, and then of course you have me standing there or sitting there. I'm just like, yep, yep, I'm here.
You look
I'm
so
a nervous
tired.
wreck, but I'm a nervous wreck, but I got this. But yeah, it was like I said, it was the very first good day. That was the first day of shooting, and it wasn't stressful because we didn't shoot for 24 hours. The next day was 24-hour shoot. So, but these guys were so happy, and I was a nervous wreck.
That's awesome. But that I think that is that part of being nervous about it. I, I love that.
Yeah, that was I want to say that was Adam Phillips's helmet that he had for Brett Wagner to use because he was playing the biker.
Right, right,
And
right.
and he picked up the helmet and it said badass on the inside of it. So he flipped it up, and as he was flipping it up, I grabbed my camera that I do a lot of the photography with, and I snapped a shot of him holding it up like
Absolute,
that.
absolute badass. But that kind of look, he looks a little far away. Like,
He's spaced out.
what's he gonna do?
Yeah, the Kemper kill maybe. But yeah, he had a good time. It was fun working with him there. And this is us signing some of the posters, some of the Indiegogo posters that we had
Right, right, right.
sold were the cast and crew signed. So I was getting pictures of everybody signing, and then that little Leatherface doll that's sitting there. One of the members that were part of the cast and crew brought for Brett to sign for him.
That's
But we was
cool.
all just sitting around signing these posters so we could send it out for the Indiegogo campaign um, to the people that contributed. You probably see a couple more of those.
I like this one. Look at this. The
Yeah,
coloration on this, spot on. Wow. I love it.
that's when I was trying to direct the big man on where he needed to go, how I needed to move, and you could kind of see his arsenal of hammers laying there on that counter. Um, and I was trying to tell him, says, I need you to come down that hallway in a menacing way. But just looking at him is a very menacing. Um, but I told him you need to come up this way, and I'll be filming him. And as he comes through, I want you to grab one of these hammers, like you're choosing your weapon. Just choose it, and I'm going to film you doing that. But that's kind of what we was doing here. Was I was trying to direct him in that fashion. This is what we're doing now. Let's shoot it. Or it looks like I'm about ready to get killed by him. Either way.
Yikes.
Yeah, big guy.
We're talking a little bit more about the physicality of acting, and a lot of times the scream queens and the ladies get tossed around. I don't know why that happens so much, but yeah, talk about this photo.
This is where Amy, Cody, and both Angel were being carried into the house, and ended up having to do this scene a couple times. And I felt bad for Cody because it was wearing him down, carrying Amy on his shoulder and then dragging Angel. So he had a lot of physical exertion. But
Right.
of course, the screen queens there, one was getting her hair pulled and the other one laying across that. I mean, it might look like it's comfortable, but it's not. It's winding you pretty much every time he takes a step. It's like a gut check with his big old shoulder into your stomach and diaphragm. But like I said, they were an awesome team. They really nailed it. I can't wait for people to see that.
There's no one that after they watch this film is going to say, oh, they just didn't put everything into it, because yeah, they did.
Yeah. That's where we're all kind of just standing around doing a fun shot of us after them being dragged and carried. And Amy didn't want to come down off of his shoulder at the time. So, and this is where I was shooting them being dragged because Kelsey took this picture. And this is when we was actually in the action of moving up the steps. Started up there. I started up with Amy. See where the camera's at is where it started with Amy, and then I kind of panned down to Angel being dragged up the steps. And it's
so
like,
definitely a lot of physicality. Here's one that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Again, it was Kelsey taking that picture. We was all ready to go inside because the whole weekend that was there, it was rainy. It was just miserable rainy. Like
perfect, perfect cruddy weather for a B movie. Perfect. Right.
It was cruddy, but like I said, even if it was a cruddy situation, a cruddy weather, we still had the best team on the planet to work with that made it fun. You can see the smiles on these people's faces.
Oh, yeah.
How much fun they was having, except for Cody. You can see him; he's not smiling because he's in the mask. He's in the mask. He's in character.
Oh, here, this one kind of looks like he's smiling. Check him out.
But he's not really smiling. He's got the bubba teeth in at the time.
Oh, well, so he's got some teeth. You can say little teeth.
Yeah, so he's got those big old chompers in of the bubba teeth to kind of give him that weird smile. But
yeah.
This is Terrence Stockton and Kelsey. This is when they was coming into the house, being dragged into the house. And I was like, before we set up for the next scene, I'm going to take a shot of you guys together, so we can get some of the BTS stuff at the same time.
Right.
But Terrence gave me this look of that psycho look of being nubbin. Like, that's perfect. That's just perfect. Keep embodying it.
Just kind of stay there for a while.
Yeah, just stay there. It's fantastic.
They're all great. This is it's freaking amazing. I like this photo too.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Just in my zone of film, just in it, as anybody would say, a director of photography, he's not looking at the scene unless it's through his viewfinder.
Yes.
So if you're looking anywhere else but that direction, you're wrong. So um
So talk about what this experience taught you about who you are at your core.
um I'm definitely an adapt and overcome type person. Because the situations like this is like if anybody else, they probably would have packed their grip and just kind of left and just went on. But um, it defined me to because I'll always harp on the fact that I'm an American, not American't. There's nothing that I can't do. If I set my mind to it, I can do whatever it needs to be done. And when I was, provided this opportunity versus it being a oh my god moment, um, it really defined me in a way of I could walk away and let these people talk about how much of you know, a wimp I was for just leaving, or I could stay and do the hard job because it wasn't easy for sure, but
Right.
do the hard job that nobody else can do or is willing to do. And we all are here, everyone's on set. We have everybody except for one person. Are we going to allow that one person, because of their flight situation, ruin the entire film? Or are we going to up the ante and really put this in people's faces? Because nobody wants to go on a set, see a film fail. And with my military experience and my background, I don't like to fail in anything I do. I'll take the mission head on, regardless of what that mission is. And if it's a mission that's destined to fail, guess what? I'm going down with it. I will not see myself out the door in an easy path, because the human nature is the path of least resistance. And
You could have bolted. You could have been like, no, this sounds like a you problem, and I don't, because you didn't know. Number one, you didn't know how it was going to turn out. It wasn't even fully written,
no.
and you had to adapt and overcome that obstacle. So, all right, we're at that point where we're talking about script writing, dialogue. It's hard enough to plan out a scene, but then that scene has to come with some dialogue, and you want to have it be authentically yours.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you reach into your arsenal of information and pull out something that was going to be a cohesive match?
Well, with that, like I said, there was some gaps in the original script, and so we had to make new scenes, and to come up with dialogue was basically like, hey, I'm going to set your scene for you. This is what I need done. And I worked with everybody with this, and we came into a, basically like a little huddle in the kitchen and came up with this on the fly. It says, hey, we're going to do this. This is what I need. Um, we're going to set this up like this. We're going to do this photo shoot to marry these two scenes together to make it make sense. We're going to need dialogue. So I wanted to make it natural. I don't want it to seem forced. I don't want it to seem like it's, I want it to be as natural as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got out to the site that we was going to do um, this scene, I looked at Kelsey and I said, "Hey, Kelsey, you're basically opening up this movie. We're going to have to make an impact, okay?" Um, and I know we worked on sets before, doing photography work together, how we talk to each other during photo shoots. just think of it this way. You're a photographer. You're going to have to do a photo shoot of these two females in the field. I don't want you to talk to them as if you're their photographer directing them. So I want you to be you of your own. And she's like, okay, yeah, I could do that. And then, of course, I turned to Amy and Angel, and I want you to kind of play off of one another. I want it to feel natural. Your guys are supposed to be in love. Be in love. Talk to each other like you're part of each other, be in love. And they started doing their bits. And before I started filming, I kind of let them run their
Right.
scenes run through first. And they ad-libbed most of that beginning part. Like, it's like, oh wow, this definitely felt really natural to me. Like, oh
Yes.
shit. It felt really great because now it's not like they're trying to think of a line. This is coming from them. This is like, it's more coming from them versus something that somebody else said. Because if it's something that someone else said, now it's going to be more forced dialogue.
Flat. It'll feel very flat. It'll feel like,
Right.
hey, we're reading and okay, and now we're saying and okay. Oh yeah, you can't, that needs to have a spontaneous combustion between the two, especially if it is some sort of a love scene, no matter what it is.
Right. And the flowetry that they had was great. But like I said, it's you can tell a person when they're forced reading versus ab-libbing.
Right.
And that first whole set of that scene was basically ab-libbed with the girls, and they did amazingly. I just gave them what I wanted. This is the scene. How would you guys react in this? And they basically like, oh, we got this. They felt super comfortable. We got this.
Good. And it's
And
good if you have a group that is comfortable with themselves, then comfortable with the people that they're with, you can get that kind of almost instantaneous response. You can get that. But if they're like, if nobody knows anybody, nobody knows how anybody is going to react, it can be rather daunting, and then it's going to take a lot longer in the process.
right.
Absolutely. Let's see what else we have in the vault of photos. Dun dun dun.
The grind bag.
I know, right? I wasn't able to get this whole thing on my.
Oh, because it was done like a vertical and not landscape.
Yeah, but look at this. Just, I mean, what I did get.
Yeah, that's the movie cover / poster.
I have that on my wall. Jackie Chin on my main wall, and I will put it up on Zombie Palooza Radio Live probably after we are finished here doing this interview. The whole entire poster was extremely impressive. This is just a piece of it. Who
And that
who did the
that
styling on this?
that kudos goes to Josh Adams.
Because it's fabulous. There is so many things going on, even just within this particular piece.
Yeah, Josh Adams is the one who done the movie poster, since he couldn't make it out on set to direct or anything. He still wanted to be part of the film with being the writer, and we asked him if he would like to still continue to do it with the poster art and the cover for the grind. And he said yeah, sure. And he came up with this. He gave us a few more examples, but this is the one I kind of hovered to because of the color and the grading on it. It was just
Everything about
really,
it
really, really well
speaks
done.
volumes for the film that they're going to consume. It is all encompassing.
Yes.
So
Um,
yeah.
so this is the one I definitely hovered to. We had a retro look, but I kept like, oh, I like the retro, but this one speaks to me in a way of what the film is.
You have to really get in there and be able to pull out every piece of essence in the film
Mm.
for that cover. Else it won't sell. You could have a bomb diggity film, but people look at covers and then they read the inscription. All of that was done extremely well. And so it wasn't just the actual graphic, but it was the letter type, the font, everything.
Yeah, like I said, he did an exceptional job on it. Josh really nailed that poster and cover art. He sent it to me, like I said, with the other ones, and I'm like, wow, this one really speaks to me, and I really like this one, and that's the one I feel that we need to use.
So I have a list of cast and crew. I want to make sure that everybody gets named and what their part is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have Brett Wagner as Bear.
Mm-hmm.
We have Cody
Huskins, yep.
as Leatherface. We have Angel Bradford as Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey Baker as Kels.
Mm-hmm.
Amy Cote as Casey. Whitney Adams as Jenny. Adam Phillips as Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Lopez as Cousin Frank.
Yep,
And Terrence Stockton as Nubbins.
it's correct.
Producers, Clarence Adams, Kelsey Baker, Adam Phillips, and Bill DiNicola.
That's correct.
Associate producer, Amy Crabtree. Of course, special effects, Kelsey Baker. Written by Josh Adams. There is a special thanks to Josh Perry, mask maker from
Clayface Creations.
I can't read my own writing. Clayface Creations, who made the Pretty Woman Leatherface and mask. And we got a few other notes here. We have Chris Carter providing location shooting at Halloween Express in Johnson City, Tennessee. Shout out for you guys. Woo, woo.
Right.
And in memory of Byron Jones.
Yeah, that was Chris's dad.
So you have a number of projects that you are going to be, that you've worked on already and are going to be working on. Let's talk about Your It.
Your It is actually a film that's in its Kickstarter phase right now. Matter of fact, we have two Walking Dead actors that are going to be in the film, and this is a retro horror film that kind of plays homage to the old style slashers like Freddy and Jason and Leatherface. It's basically a film crew filming basically like a little movie themselves. Mm-hmm. And they start getting hunted by this character. I don't want to give too much.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I know director Ron Rossman would be upset if I gave too much.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't want to mad at me.
It's almost like a movie within a movie, but the Kickstarter is on right now. You can actually look it up. So if you look under the Kickstarter, directed by Ron Rossman.
All right.
You can actually help be part of the film yourself. So you got a lot of perks in there you could be part of. But it's going to be really, really, I wish I could tell you what my part is, but we're not allowed to do those.
All right, so we're moving on to the next thing. It's called Rescue. I'm going to rescue you by saying rescue.
Rescue, yes. That's another horror film that's directed by Ron Rossman. Mm-hmm. We're going to be shooting that next month, matter of fact.
Is there an Indiegogo for this?
No, it's not. We don't have anything started for that.
All right, Alien List.
Alien List. I'm actually shooting this as a director and a character with director Stacy Johnson, who's a SAG actress for like all the Halloween franchise movies, and she's also played in the movie It. There was two Pennywise characters. It was Bill Skarsgård, and then you had Stacy Johnson. She played Pennywise, the one that was in the sewer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Where you see the different color eyes. You had the ones with the green eyes and the blue eyes. If you see the blue eyes, that's Stacy Johnson playing Pennywise. So this is her film that she's writing with David Merlin. It's an alien horror film, basically. So it's going to be really intense. So I can't wait for that one to come out either.
Here's another intense film brought to me and my attention by Carl Grasso. It's called The Hag.
Yes, The Hag, The Awakening. It's an original horror film by me. It's going to be filmed and directed by me. And I'm going to have Carl in it. Little does he know. Now he knows. But it basically takes time in a Salem witch trial scenes, and it builds up to the character Ezapeth. That's her original name.
Mm-hmm.
And she is tried at the Salem witch trials of the many ways of killing witches, and nothing works for her. Well, they ended up casting a curse and putting her in a box and burying her away from the Salem witch trial areas and Winston-Salem. But and it skips up to modern times.
Cool. So we're going to go to Shaolin Warriors.
The Shaolin Warriors is a film that I'm working on with James Pax. And if anybody knows who James Pax is, James Pax played in Big Trouble in Little China as the lightning guy.
Oh, one of my favorite films, I'm telling you.
But he played the lightning guy, and I'm actually his military advisor on the film of Shaolin Warriors.
Super cool. Wow. All right. And then there is another one. I think it's called The Illers.
No, it's the 3%ers, The Rise of America.
There you go, The Illers. I was like, what is that? But the 3%ers.
It's more of an action horror film that I'm going to be directing and filming myself, and I do have a character part that is in it. But it's basically back taking the rights of the American people away from our government by any means necessary in a really gruesome way. So
you are going to have your hands full. Most of these things are going to be coming out in what year or years? What kind of plans do you have?
I'm looking to like in 2024 and 2025 for some of the ones that I have originally written myself. And some of the other ones that we're working on will be in 2024. And of course, The Grind is a lot to be trying to come out during spooky season in October.
Yeah, so let's talk about The Grind. And I'm hoping that you like the way I did this, because I wanted to make sure that the name of the film was going to be in here somewhere. And I actually did a screenshot with my this thing, and it's pretty cool.
I like it. It's grungy. I like it.
It's got a number of bells and whistles on the back of this thing. So every once in a while it comes, but I wanted to make sure. I was really nervous, but I wanted to make sure that I had that kind of grunge feel to it, and took a little bit of this, that, and the other. But let's talk about when this film is going to make its wider debut.
I'm going to try to get it towards the spooky season, because I know I work at a Creepy Hollow Haunted House, which is a haunted attraction in Bishopville, South Carolina. But our spooky season starts in September, and I'm going to try to get it out around the Halloween time frame, because that's where everybody's amped up.
Yeah.
For spooky stuff. We want spooky stuff. We want to see spooky stuff. So that's when I want to try to have it completed to 100%. I mean, I have it completed, but every time you watch it, you're like, there's something else I could do to it, tweak it. So I want to make sure I have all the tweaks and everything completed by Halloween, so I can actually
Absolutely.
drop
I
that.
would love to get this to play on Tingler television. Once you figure out what you want to do with it, I would love to have it aired. I would also love to be able to bring some of the cast and crew on here to be able to have them talk about their experiences as part of this film and what it was like for them to be a part of the grind and all of the experiences that they went through in putting this thing together.
I would love to have them come on here and talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. So we are definitely going to make that happen. There are a number of places that you are going to also be at for conventions and things of that sort. And I know you have a list, so let's have it.
Okay, so first off, I'm supposed to be slotted to go to Contropolis in New Jersey to help represent James Pax at the Contropolis event on July 8th through the 9th. And then we're doing a lockdown filming in the Nickerson Sneed House Museum in Virginia. It's a paranormal lock-in where I'm actually filming the lockdown with the SRS team, July 25th and 26th. Then I have the Charlotte Comic Con that's in Charlotte, North Carolina on August 6th that I will be at doing photography, probably cosplaying and networking like I always do. And then I have CreepyCon coming up in Knoxville, Tennessee, August 25th through the 27th. That's where I'll be with Cody Huskins, the Leatherface. So if you guys want to see Leatherface from the grind, and Bill Nicola, who is actually starting their film called Dreamscape, Freddy versus Jason Dreamscape, where I'm slotted to play Freddy. So I'll be there at CreepyCon as Freddy versus
Are you holding
Cody.
out on me? Let me. Oh my goodness! I knew you were good. I knew.
Yeah, but I'll be playing Freddy and Freddy versus Jason in Dreamscape, and I'm going to try to be at CreepyCon with both the director and producer Bill Nicola, um, and have Cody Huskins. He's playing our Jason, so we'll be there together. Then I have SC Horror, which is the only horror convention in South Carolina, and that's in Columbia, South Carolina. It'll be September 16th and 17th. They'll have Tyler Main and stuff out there doing autographs and so many other cool celebrity people. But
That's
I'll be
cool.
out there doing some photography work with the guy who runs the show. His name is Jason, but he goes by Jay. He don't like being called Jason. His name is Jay. And then I have the Fayetteville Comic Con in Fayetteville, North Carolina, October 13th through the 15th, and where I'll be doing some of the event photography along with cosplaying and stuff.
That's super cool. So you cosplay too. What is your favorite character to cosplay?
Well, I have a lot of characters that I play. Most of them are horror characters, but when I do like the superhero conventions and stuff, my favorite character of all time is Deadpool because I have that mentality as Deadpool. So so it's like who doesn't like Deadpool? I know that Deadpool's
Now
overplayed, but
I get it. Now it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I love Deadpool. All about it. I mean, I know my son Joshua thinks that me liking Deadpool is some kind of weird thing, but I'm like, I get him. I understand him.
right. And there was a joke that I did at somebody at a convention with Deadpool that stood out. And it's why I get brought in to play Deadpool at a lot of these conventions. It was a guy, he was dressed up like Star-Lord from the Guardians of the Galaxy. He looked fantastic. Cosplay looked amazing, but his hair was thin. I have no room to talk, but my character is at least bald. But
Your
you know what?
quaff is a little
Yeah, I gotta
off.
skull it. I gotta skull it. But anyway, the, he had the hair was kind of thinning in the middle right here, and he put mousse in it and slicked it back, and so he looked like he had the Homer Simpson's three little stripes in his hair. So as Deadpool, I walked up to him and I had to say something, and I looked over him. I says, "Hey, Star Lord." He goes, "What?" I said, "Looks like your hairline didn't survive Thanos' snap." It's only half. It's only half gone. He's like, oh my
Ooh,
God.
ooh, that was deep, but so
Yeah.
Deadpool, definitely Deadpool.
Right. And then at another convention, I did the same thing, but I did get the memo. I went to a Fayetteville Comic Con dressed as Deadpool, but it was the Mortal Kombat convention. Everybody's dressed as Mortal Kombat characters. And here I am as Deadpool, fourth wall break,
Ooh,
I'm I'm in here kind of just checking everything out, dressed as Deadpool, and this guy wheels up next to me, and I look at him. He's in a wheelchair, and he's dressed like Sub-Zero. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I gotta say something. So I look down at him. I says, looks like they only did half the job. And he says, excuse me. I said, finish him. And he's like, oh my God, dude. He says, your sense of humor is so morbid. I love it. And then we came to bestest friends on
it's
the spot.
awesome.
And his name is David Porvis. He's such a great guy. He's such a great.
Making people though feel included, complete, in part of the action. Okay, you want to play? Let's go. We're going to give, like balls to the wall. We're doing this.
Exactly. And we did it. We did it really good. And it's like, and I go out and so people get offended by the jokes. I thought, I apologize, but
It's
it's
Deadpool.
Deadpool. You gotta have Deadpool.
It is the way it is.
I gotta have Deadpoolish things because I even stole a bra from somebody, a pink one, and I wore it to the convention, and I was just rubbing.
No.
And I went through a silent auction through the convention that was up on stage doing the auction and stuff, and I just walked right through everybody, and they stopped the entire thing until I walked past.
You gotta have humor. You've got to have fortitude, and if you're going to be doing it, you're going to do it all the way. We're
All
not
the way.
we're not skipping out on anything. So
maximum effort.
Guess what? You just gave maximum effort, maximum quality on your first experience with Zombie Palooza Radio Live. What did you think about being on here your first time?
Oh, well, what I think, it was great. Couldn't ask for a better host that was very well prepared. Asking me all the right questions, keeping me on track. But it's a very great experience. I can't wait to be part of this again, especially with more people, because I really want them to really engulf this experience and be part of this and really say what they need to say instead of it being voiced for me. I want them to be able to tell their story and show you how much fun they had with me being their director. Just, my mentality, my sense of humor.
So this is Jackie Chin, and it's a Zombie Palooza Radio Live, and we are going to be signing off. But I kind of sort of, now that I know one of his alter egos, I would like to have Deadpool sign us off for this episode of Zombie Palooza Radio Live, talking with Clarence Adams.
So you need me to put my mask on?
I need you to sign us off, take us out of here in whatever fashion you would like.
Well, hold on, and I'll do it right for you.
Yeah.
I gotta get a little dirt off the mask, but I was playing in hay the other day. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, look at that. I'm smexy. Oh, tuck it in. Oh, how do I look? Do I look nice?
Oh, you look fabulous.
I look official. All right.
All official.
Here we go. Let's do this microphone thing. So here we have it, Zombie Palooza Radio Live with Jackie Chin. And I'm not disappointed. Not at all. Because this was the best experience I could ever have since, when was the last time I had a chimichanga? That burrito truck that we just had, had all the chimichangas in the world. And if I could find my unicorn, he's just a little horny around here, but he would say the same thing about Jackie Chan and Zombie Palooza Radio. He had a great time. And if you need a little head, here you go. And Deadpool signing off.